I did not character assassinate. When
you talk about the mental illness of the President of the United States, even your own profession, I'm not talking about the rules and the law, you even attack your own professional organization. What's the name of your organization again? The American Psychological Association. I read your book, the American Psychiatric Association, excuse me. You even attack them. You even play with conspiracy theories that they must be under pressure or something, because they and the overwhelming majority of psychiatrists in this country reject what you're doing, don't they?
No. In fact, it's the opposite. The people who come and speak against me are only a handful. And
ma'am, you have 36 people who've joined your. Isn't it true you met with mostly Democrats on Capitol Hill on the 25th Amendment against the President of the United States?
I never spoke about the 25th Amendment, and I stopped meeting with Congress members because there were no Republicans who would meet with me. I waited and waited for a year and a half, and they have not reached out to me. So I
maybe they disagree with you.
One Democrat who is willing to bring together both parties.
And what Democrat is that?
John Yarmouth.
John Yarmouth of Kentucky.
Who used to be a Republican.
Well, I don't care if he used to be an independent. It's irrelevant to me. This isn't about... See, for you, it's about politics. For me, I sit back and I say, wow, we have a psychiatrist on TV pontificating about the mental health of the president, what a danger he is, how dangerous he is, how he needs to be removed, you talk about, how he must be defeated, and so forth and so on. There are hundreds of thousands of psychiatrists out there who would never do that sort of thing. Why is that? Can you imagine a medical emergency that does not have to do with politics? Not everything is about politics. In fact, medicine is above politics. I have to take a break. Can you hold on, or do you want to go? Do you want to stay? Can you hold on?
Yeah, I can hold on.
All right, we'll be right back. Thank you, Doctor. With Dr. Bandy X. Lee, Assistant Clinical Professor at Yale, a medical doctor, psychiatrist, Dr. Lee. I have before me, and I ordered this some time ago, and it wasn't easy to find, this magazine called Fact, which is the result of the Goldwater rule, as you know.
Yes, that's actually a long story. You said I could ask you questions.
Oh, all right, go ahead. But you're jumping in, and I just want to finish this. Mm-hmm. And on the cover, it says 1,189 psychiatrists say Goldwater is psychologically unfit to be president. Did you ever read this magazine?
Yes. I actually read the comments, too.
And what do you make of them?
So it was a survey of more than 12,000 psychiatrists, and only about 1,100 responded.
Right.
And it was, less than 10%. So less than 10% speaking irresponsibly is not a big deal, but it was a tabloid magazine which sensationalized the responses. And some were egregious, others were actually quite reasonable.
And Barry Goldwater brought a lawsuit, right?
Yes, and
did he win?
Won against the magazine, and the American Psychiatric Association was embarrassed. So in response to that, just added a rule that's actually, the rule wasn't really necessary. It's an extension of good practice, not to diagnose.
Well, they restated the rule, didn't they, in 2017? What did they say?
Oh, actually, they created a new rule, a gag rule.
What did they say?
So it used to be you couldn't diagnose a public figure, but you should educate the public when asked about a public figure and educate in general terms. And it was part of participating in activities that improve the community and better public health, because psychiatrists have a responsibility to society as well as to patients. And that's actually the context of the Goldwater
You wrote the whole book, though. You weren't asked. You wrote an entire book. And by the way, let me just say this as a lawyer.
The public was hungry for
to America. New York Times versus
asked.
Sullivan was after this decision.
So actually...
So what happens is people can accuse people of all kinds of stuff now, public figures, and not be held to account legally. Back then, you could be. Yes, what is it, doctor? How may I help you?
Yes. As a medical professional, I actually prefer the human over the political level. I've never been interested in politics.
I don't know what that means.
Because it's ephemeral.
What does that mean, political over human?
More eternal.
Doctor.
I've been interested in more eternal things.
Well, really? Well, Aristotle considered politics about humanity. Not just about elections, not just about representative government.
That's right.
He
so
talked lower. He talked about the polity. So when we talk about politics, we're not talking about, raw poll numbers and something like that. We're talking about the body politic, society, the civil society. Go ahead.
Question. You have wanted to do this interview. Someone pointed out to me a YouTube video where you were complaining that I consented and then declined. Why did you wish to do this interview?
First of all, I don't remember saying you consented and declined. When did I say that, Mr. Producer? Never. Why don't you send us a link? You send us a link to that YouTube video, and I'll post it.
I mean, my question is simply, why did you...
Well, get your facts straight first. Now, why did I want to do this interview? I'm going to tell you why. I read your book. I've been watching you on television. Mm-hmm. And I consider you a disgrace.
And why is that?
That's why. Because, in my view, if you're a mental health professional, you don't go on to left-wing shows with Brian Stelter all over MSNBC, advise Democrats in Congress. Excuse me. Well, you've been around. I've seen you. Promoting your book, promoting your position. You say you're a humanist, I think you said. You don't really want to get involved in politics. That's baloney. You're involved. Excuse me. It's my observations now. I admit, not based on a medical training, but based on legal training and common sense. You have not only allowed yourselves to become a political plaything of the left, you are loving it. And so that is why I wanted you on this program. You disagree? You disagree? Well, I mean, ma'am, I am inside your head. You're inside my head. You're inside everybody's head. Go ahead.
Look. I don't profit from the book. All the revenues are being
I didn't say you profited from the book. Who said that?
I don't benefit from public appearances. In fact, my reputation has suffered.
I didn't say you do.
Benefited.
You're out there promoting a propagandistic point of view that is not based in medical science, or in my view, this is just my opinion.
Yes.
Or in normally accepted standards of your profession. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's my view.
Yes, because it's really unprecedented that so many mental health professionals have risen up for any president of any party. In fact, there are thousands who have formed a coalition.
You're damning your own profession. I agree with you.
President, because the APA was not acting on
because so many psychiatrists are liberals. That's why.
Favoring the government over protection of society.
Now you sound like a conspiracy theorist. So you're saying your professional organization is siding with the government against its members. Now the vast majority of members don't believe that.
So it said that it was doing so to protect federal funding. Anyhow,
to protect whose federal funding, Doctor?
The APA's federal funding.
So they're bought and paid. Hold on now. So they're bought and paid for, the APA. So we should ignore them.
Are you a Republican?
I'm a conservative Republican, but sometimes I oppose Republicans.
Have you ever voted for a Democrat?
Never.
Okay. Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes.
Now, would you say your views are objective?
Yes.
You tried to discount my views, even though I am not a Democrat. I did not only vote for Democrats.
You said you voted for one Republican, and you wouldn't tell me who. I've been more honest with you than you've been with me. Who did you vote for?
Well, I told you I supported one. I was too young.
Supported one. I see.
And now I believe I was mistaken.
Okay.
Now,
what else do you want to ask me, Doctor?
You discount my point of view based on.
I don't discount your point of view at all. I think it's a point. Hold on now.
Who I met with.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Even though
excuse me. I don't discount your point of view. I think what you're doing is, in my personal opinion, grossly unprofessional. But I don't discount your point of view.
Grossly unprofessional?
What's that?
Were you saying your opinion is grossly unprofessional?
No, yours.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Why am I holding myself out as a medical doctor and doing psychoanalysis and doing all that stuff? No.
About me not hearing my point of view, you have already
read your book.
Your conclusion, and you will not be swayed. So why are we having this?
Here's what I'll do. I'm going to give you 30 seconds without interruption to tell my audience why you're right. Go ahead.
Because I am concerned about humanity, and when there is a risk to its health and safety, I have an obligation, a professional obligation to society to speak up. And I have tried all confidential avenues. I have tried to go about things the quiet way. It has not worked. And so my last resort is to be of service to the public. I'm pleading to the public because the public is also my responsibility insofar as health is concerned. I am not acting as a political agent. I am not interested in politics. It is merely my trying to meet a medical need. And I would do the same if it were a Democratic president.
What do you make? Fair enough. What do you make of Joe Biden's mental health?
It seems like it's not so perfect, but compared to Donald Trump, he's quite better off. And I believe he has the insight and integrity to pass off tasks if he were to become incapacitated. I'm not sure I could say the same about Mr. Trump.
And why do you assume that about Joe Biden?
I don't assume that. I look at patterns of behavior.
Oh, you know it as a fact. Very good.
No, I have a hypothesis.
Well, we all have a hypothesis.
I had a hypothesis, and you test it over time. And if your hypothesis is met time and time again, and in fact affirmed and completely turns out as you predicted, then you assess the situation as consistent with your hypothesis. And that's been exactly the case with Mr. Trump. Yes, when we wrote the book, it was
I asked you about Joe Biden, and you keep talking about Donald Trump. Is that a
yes, because
psychological issue?
Is that
is hold on now? Is obsession a psychological issue?
No, unless they become a danger to the public.
Are you obsessed with Donald Trump?
No, I'm concerned about the danger until it's removed.
Well, we're all concerned about danger. I'm concerned about the danger of Joe Biden. But that doesn't mean I'm going to just psychologically analyze the man from afar.
You said you're not a psychological professional, so I wouldn't expect you to.
But I suspect 100,000 in your profession wouldn't do. No, it's not your job. As a matter of fact, you just trashed your own association. You basically said they sold out to the federal government. Didn't you say that?
No, the association did. When an institution does so, in
order to
stand up for the integrity of my field, I will speak up. Because I'm an independent thinker.
Do you know who Florence Nightingale was?
I'm sorry?
Do you know who Florence Nightingale was?
Yes, of course.
You sound like you have a Florence Nightingale complex. May I say that with all due respect? You're standing up for your profession. You, Dr. Bandy Lee.
I think all professionals should stand up for their profession. They should not be just blind, obedient, non-thinkers. They should not become technicians. They are professionals.
Why do you assume people in your profession who work hard every day to try and treat people who are troubled, who need help, are blind technicians as opposed to as opposed to upholding the Hippocratic Oath?
You do not realize just how many mental health professionals are eager to speak up, and the APA placed a chilling effect on the entire profession. That's why thousands of them.
The APA saved your profession. They saved your profession because.
How do you know that?
I tell you why I think that, and the reason is because people who need mental health, I assume, support or input or whatever the situation is, behavioral issues and so forth, they don't want to go to somebody who's going to go on TV and then start trashing a politician because she concludes from her own broad, vast experience, hold on now, in examining rallies that the President of the United States... Well, let me ask you this. Are the president's, and you write about this, are the president's supporters equally mentally problematic?
No, but they may not recognize the signs. And so when they are supporting someone to their detriment, I believe it's my duty to alert them about the situation, especially if there is harm.
But that's not what I asked you. The almost 63 million people who voted for him and like him. You know, he's got like